Hello fellow programmers! If you're here to learn Bash, a silly programming language introduced with Windows NT. Before we start, let's learn something about Bash's history. It goes back to the MS-DOS days. Bash was a simple programming language that could run on any computer running MS-DOS without a CPU architecture limitation. So DOS had a basic command parameters syntax. You could enter commands into the command line itself, or you could create a batch file which would execute these commands automatically. By default, DOS would display these commands as if you were entering them yourself. For example, a batch file that contains a hello world echo would display this prompt. This was a bit annoying, so a new function was introduced. Running echo off at the start of the script will disable that prompt. So now a bash file with an echo off and an echo hello world will display this. But this was still a bit weird because it still displayed this echo off command. So another function was introduced. Putting an add symbol at the start of any command would first disable that prompt. So now, this batch file looks like this. This is exactly what we want. Now let's be clear. Echo isn't the only command that exists. The important commands are set, if, for, go to, and home. To understand these commands, let's get into variable expansion. We can define variables simply with the command set. Variables can be expanded with the percentage sign. Before we continue, let's look at the if command. So here, we have a simple if statement which checks if variable is text. But now, let's assume the variable is set to nothing. This is going to fail. You see, in Bash, variables are expanded to directly what's inside of them. So this will actually expand to this, which we can tell this doesn't look right. Secondly, if this variable contains any spaces, this will also fail. That's because it's expanding to this, which also doesn't look right. So how can we avoid this problem? Well, with quotes. Also, if we want to make our if statements a bit prettier, we can space out these two equal signs, and we can also replace them with the word EQU, but I prefer them this way. Last thing, we can use the I switch to compare these values in case insensitivity mode, which means that we can set variable to capital text. And what do you know? This will work. Let's get back to the set command. What if we want to put the percentage sign into the variable? Well, we have to escape it. To escape a character, in most programming languages, use the backslash. In Bash, you use this character. This character is called a caret, and we can also escape the percentage sign by using two percentage signs like this, which looks prettier, and in some cases this will be also required. We will talk about that later. So now we can do this.